Welcome to the SYLBOURNE Show. Before we begin today's post-American election special, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on this year's U.S. presidential election campaign. The 2016 American elections and the time leading up to them has been, to say the least, a little far-fetched in what is seen as the normal realms of reality and quite entertaining. A Republican won in the presidential and vice presidential election has given us Donald J. Trump and Mike Pence as president and vice president-elect, respectively, which has been met with much vitriol, to put it mildly, not just in America, but across the world. During this election, I was constantly reminded of a quote by a writer and activist, Rebecca Solnit, who said, "Presidential elections are a form of madness that comes over us once every 4 years. They fit the great man or woman narrative of history, seducing us into forgetting how powerful we are. They erase our memory of grassroots power, direct democracy, and civil society. Leaders beget followers. People pin their hopes on one person, and with that they seem to shed responsibility for anything beyond getting that one person into office. Or they wash their hands of any further involvement if it is not their one person. It matters who is president, but what a president does has everything to do with what the people demand or refuse or do themselves, and what the House and Senate send them or sabotage. The above statement has never been one more true than during this particular election in this particular country, and I dare say true for the whole world as we watch in amazement and stupor. Throughout the primaries and secondaries, there were security leaks, FBI investigations, calls for indictments, plagiarism, sexism, elitism, racism, misogamy, protests and hate crimes, and celebrities and people alike choose sides. People were mocked, abused, and even in the wake of an impending U.S. as envisioned by Donald J. Trump, things have not gotten better, but possibly worse, as we receive daily reports of protest, demonstration, and acts of racial discrimination and hate crimes. All the while, this is a time when America and we all should be taking heed of Rebecca Solnit's quote and remembering and regaining our grassroots power, direct democracy, and our civil rights and liberties. While the campaign of America's president-elect may have been full of divisive rhetoric, what was once a contentious candidate is now a thoughtful president-elect who has promised the people of this country and of the world to be a president for all the people. And presented with the vision of this considerate, toned-down Trump, there's hope to be had. No matter where in the world we are from, I want to hear your views on the impending Trump presidency and what it may mean for the U.S. and for the rest of the world. Share your comments below on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with Instagram SYLBOURNE TV. Joining us today, we have Coach Lyken, founder and CEO of Eagles Vision, a faith-based organization that runs several projects focused on strong family values and strong community ties in order to create a safer nation through education, influence, and excellence. And of course, he always does the boot camp. Anthony Lyken, Coach. Welcome.
Welcome, sir.
How are you doing,
We're back again here.
We're back again. Fantastic. Thank you for joining me at this time. I tried very much as possible to try to get someone to have a discussion, but many people are scared.
Are afraid.
They don't want to talk about it.
Understand.
They're afraid that they are going to be captured or put in a box, hung, drawn, and quartered. Coach, Trump, on both the left and the right, he started out as a bad joke, but then suddenly people stopped laughing and what he was saying and eventually started listening. Reflecting on this election, what do you think Trump hit the nail on the head at the time and start gaining traction, or when do you think that happened?
Okay, SYLBOURNE, let me start with this. I learned something years ago.
Yeah.
It said you can take years to build an image.
Yes.
And you can take one day to destroy that image.
Yes.
The left knew Trump for over 40 years, I would say, or more. Senator Schumer from New York, you name, they knew Trump. He was part of their circles. He wrote checks for them. All these years, Trump was building an image. Nobody called him a racist. Nobody called him anything. And when they heard that the joke was over and he was going to run, he was elected. Matter of fact, he was nominated in the primaries as the presidential candidate. They took $100 million to destroy that image. And the amazing thing about it, it backfired. However, in the minds of the vulnerable, that image remained. Because America is so divided on race. They've had 7 years of division, deep division, that once that image was created in people, it wasn't going to be removed. And if you look at Hillary Clinton, she literally played on that image. She played on that image. Her platform was the image. Her people bought into the image. But the truth about it, the majority of Americans do not like Hillary Clinton.
But
they were worried about Donald Trump because of the image of what was the narratives that were out there. You had the president of the United States who was pushed in a heavy narrative. His vice president. You had look. I mean, let's just rewind back to the Bernie Sanders. When Bernie Sanders, look how they knock him out clean because they wanted to push Hillary in front there. You understand? You saw the aftermath of that. And then you had the situation where Donna Brazile, she was feeding questions, from CNN, and she openly denied that she did.
I think CNN fired her.
Yeah, well, she resigned and they separated themselves. But if you go back in 1988 with Mike Dukakis, she was in trouble of lying again with the Bush campaign. So you see, there's a pattern within the left. There's a pattern that they're I call them the bunch of pathological liars.
Okay,
they're good at that.
I'm going to take it from another angle now, and you pick on 2 points which you mentioned. You said the image of Trump became. They started to destroy that image based on
that image was sold into the psyche, into the emotions of the voters, of the liberals, whoever they can mislead, manipulate, and misinform.
The word out there is that Trump is racist, and it is used by the terminologies, which is said that he says when he's up there on the platform, he's xenophobia, he's all the negative.
But what America forgot, if you go back to 1964, when Barry Goldwater was elected, when he was supposed to honor the Civil Rights Act, he said he would not sign it. And Hillary Clinton, leading on from that, boast how she was a Barry Goldwater girl.
Yes, I remember that. Goldwater girl, yes.
So who's a racist? Bill Clinton with a Confederate flag. And the star on the Confederate flag in Arkansas, he allowed it to fly. That nice, beautiful Clinton couple allowed for 12 years.
Yes.
Where did this whole black... So, it's like, I'm calling you a racist, but I'm not really looking at my heart in the mirror because I'm actually worse than you.
Yes.
But people, let me tell you, a lot of people fell out with me. A lot of people, I said, look, you guys got to, block me on Facebook if you don't like what I'm saying. I'm giving you that opportunity. And I remember one person said, oh, I'll block you the next time you say. I said, no, I will help you. And I helped them. I helped block them, It's all right. You see, what the left has done, they've created such damage that people, first of all, are fearful to say who they're going to vote for. People are fearful to make any comments on Facebook, right? It's like the Brexit. It was a fear-driven action that took place on both sides. They were driving fear into voters because everybody want to get their way. Rather than exposing voters to the truth and let the voters decide, it was a fear-driven election. And like I said, on Facebook, it was manic. I mean, people were literally like saying to me, why don't I stop? Why am I keep, this and, oh, it's time for a woman to go first and all this rhetoric that people were going. I was like, this has nothing to do with a woman. We would love to see a woman sitting in the office of the president, but not Hillary Clinton. And for me, it's about going back and looking at history. Because if you want to go back and said, well, Trump did not let his apartments out to blacks, I want to go back and see that Hillary Clinton supported Barry Goldwater. I want to go back that Barry Goldwater did not sign the Civil Rights Bill. I want to go back that when it came to the freedom of slaves, which party actually freed the slaves. I want to go back to Bill Clinton calling black people sand niggers in Arkansas. I want to go back.
Yeah.
So, don't come and tell me that, Trump is a racist, but Hillary is so innocent. No, she's not. I want to go back to Haiti, where the Clintons leave Haiti 6 years worse off after the earthquake. I want to go back on facts. I don't want to go back on fiction.
Do you think that society now, Facebook is talking about a lot of fake news and everything like that. Society now is so politically...
No. Their society is so hypocritical.
Hypocritically.
They are not, no. They passed the stage of politically correct,
Yes.
because Christians, or those that call themselves Christians, they had an obligation to come out and say, I'm on either Hillary or... I had friends who were like, never Trump, never Hillary. And I said to them, I believe Trump is the right man for the job. I was not afraid. I was not afraid to lose you as a friend, because if you blocked me, we were never friends in the first place. I had a friend who said, wait until the 9th of November, then you can talk to me. You're going to see who's going to be in power. I said, well, I'll tell you what. We don't have to wait until the 9th of November. I'm telling you, Trump is going to be the president.
But listen, the Electoral College, we know what that is about, whereby it is a way whereby one massive state won't take full control and have this overwhelming influence.
These are the number of constituencies, there's a number of senators and congressmen that within that.
But the saying, and based on the figures, Hillary actually got 1.3 million or so more of the popular votes. And it is said, which you said earlier, that Americans don't want her. But at the same time, she got more of the popular vote.
Well, that is what has been said, that she's got more of the popular vote. However, the Electoral College is there for a reason. Right? I mean,
when you say it's been said, I mean, it is out there officially. I understand the difference between the Electoral College and the popular vote. I mean, it is the same thing which had happened with Gore and Bush. Gore had more votes than Bush, but Bush won the Electoral College.
I know you were probably watching, but if you were looking at most of the networks, they were saying Hillary has 240-something Electoral College, so she's got it in the bag. Trump only has 218. It was always Hillary way up in the Electoral College, because as long as she had the Electoral College, Trump was not going to get, that was it. Right? This is all a liberal masquerade that is going on about the popular vote, and it should be changed now. All of a sudden it should be changed because Trump. You see, all of the networks now are coming home and saying, oh, we got it wrong. All the pundits who were predicting this, because she was way ahead in the Electoral College. I mean, they had her up to 240-something, I mean, close to 250. They had her up in the electoral vote. And all of a sudden, Trump sat back and walked this thing right through by a landslide.
It is very interesting. And throughout the elections, in comparison to Hillary, composed, slick political demeanor, Trump was deemed to be nervous, unprepared. This is at the debate.
That was all political. That was all political.
He was not rehearsed. They say he mumbled, he over himself. For many, it didn't matter what he actually said. Very much like Bush before him, he spoke in a way that many could relate to. For many Americans, represented someone outside the political elite, someone who speaks his mind. This was the dawn of the post-truth era. What is happening now, whereby with Brexit, for argument's sake, the polls were all saying one thing, and then another figure came up.
Well, at 20 minutes to 5, we can now say the decision taken in 1975 by this country to join the common market has been reversed by this referendum to leave the EU.
What is happening now, whereby the polls were saying one thing for Hillary, at least 1% above, 1%, 3% above, and then once they go behind that curtain, another thing is happening.
Sean Hannity from Fox News said journalism is dead.
Yes.
Real journalism is not fair and balanced anymore. There are only a few journalists out there. You can actually watch their program and know that you will get a fair and balanced news. Even after they're finished their segments, you can actually go and look for yourself and see that they're actually, what they're saying were factual. I always try to dig deep or make phone calls back to the States to find out, well, is this going on? Is this for real? Is this not for real? Or if I was to post something, which rarely happen, You know, my guys were saying, no, that's a hoax website, or
Yes.
that's a false. That was a very rare thing that happened, because
Yes.
I always try to search deep. However, I've said this 2-3 years ago, that the political landscape is shifting right now.
Generally, internationally.
Internationally.
Yeah.
The two-party system that has been running for years, people are becoming tired. And those people are the middle class. The people who have to go out there, work 2-3 jobs, put food on the table, to pay their car note, to pay their taxes, and want to retire in very comfortably. They are really feeling the burden. Look at the price for housing, right? Politicians' salaries are going up. What's happening with the middle class? Then look at jobs. Jobs are moving out of our country, and I mean, Hillary was supporting this program. There was a program, the American program that Hillary supported, where girls in one of those 8 Far Eastern countries, they were working for, at least 11 and 12-year-old girls were actually working for little or nothing. This program was that they were making stuff. And she was supporting stuff. This is a woman who said, oh, I care about women. You care about women, but you trash all those women, that your husband, I call him the deplorable, slept with, and you trash them. You got on the television and you said this is a right-wing conspiracy when your husband committed one of the most worst acts in the nation's greatest office.
Now,
So I think sometimes politicians lie and think they don't believe that they're lying, or they buy into their own lies. And Hillary is like, she's a liar in chief.
okay, I understand the angle with Hillary there, but let's go for Trump now, whereby he mentioned lots of things during the campaign, what he's going to do, etc., etc., etc. And some of the rhetorics coming out now is that he's changing his mind, or he's toning down. But at the same time, while I'm saying that to you, people are complaining that he's putting certain people in to further his policies.
Well, okay. For instance, you have Senator Jeff Sessions, he's appointed as Attorney General. There's big news now about that. He's a racist and all that stuff. Like I said again, people are not doing their homework. The media is pushing these narratives. You go back to Alabama, Senator Jeff Sessions. He was the man who was actually prosecuting people from the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
He was the person who actually wanted the death penalty for a Klansman's
He's a Republican.
son. That's right. He was a prosecutor at the time. He wanted to get the death penalty in for a Klansman who actually murdered a black child, right? He went for schools not to be segregated anymore. So how are you saying this man is racist when he was doing all these great things in Alabama for blacks? And Alabama is he has been voted in so many times. He's so popular down there. Listen, what is happening now? Like the New York Times. I've got a piece of clip there where the New York Times, two papers saying the same thing, but in a different way. They are still pushing the racist narrative and the racist tone. Barack Obama went all the way to Berlin to make himself a clown. Him and Angela Merkel. She ain't got too long. Her political obituary is read already. It's done. She's finished. She's only buying time right now where she is in Germany.
Yes.
She's going.
She like dead man walking.
She's dead man walking, of course. But the funny thing about it is that while Barack Obama was standing there, right, spilling his guts, Merkel looked very uncomfortable. She was very uncomfortable with the things he was saying.
Because it's not in her favor for her to win.
You know what I'm saying? She was very uncomfortable. Look what happened to him in one of the other countries that he went to. They were protesting. That
was Greece.
Yeah, Greece. Go back, Mr. We don't want you here. So what I'm saying is this. You have, and I'm saying this to voters out there, if you want to find the truth, you got to dig deep for the truth. You got to go back. There's Google out there. There's so much information out there.
Test the news.
Senator Jeff Sessions, his records is not sealed like Barack Obama. You can literally punch it into Google and you can see all the things that this man has done.
I'll give you a classic example. Yeah. I receive a lot of WhatsApp messages today that this guy named Dudus, I don't know if you follow Jamaican politics, Jamaican issues. Right. He was a strong man in a very volatile area in Jamaica. And he's now in the States in prison. And the message which is going around saying that he hung himself in prison in America. I saw it and I knew it was a lie. It was a fake news. Why? Because the news broadcast in that little clip or that little media thing said all of Jamaica is aware of this. There are key newspapers in Jamaica that you can just check right away. You know that this is, and people have just been sharing it. And each time we come, I say, test the news. Fake, fake, fake. Even Mark Zuckerberg is talking about a lot of these fake things.
Yeah.
But Anthony, there's a big issue now, and this is it. Families are broken up. Friends are broken up.
Well, I could imagine what is going to go on around the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah.
The turkey's probably going to jump up.
I mean,
I think the turkey's going to rise from the dead because
it won't be pardoned.
the turkey wouldn't be pardoned because families. I mean, if I was to fly to America now and enter certain families' house,
Yeah.
they would look at me with scorn and disgust.
Yes.
Because they've seen my Facebook page, they wouldn't even respond.
But Tony, why? Anthony,
You see,
why?
again, ignorance is deadly. Ignorance is deadly. You think you're living in North Korea, where you cannot have a view. I had to say to people, why am I not allowed to express my view, and we can disagree respectfully
And move on.
I can come on this show with you. You can say you like Hillary. I can say I like Trump. We can shake hands. We say let's see who's going to be the best man walking in. Right? Nothing is wrong with having a healthy debate. I mean, I had people literally curse me out on Facebook. And I just replied back to them and I said, the word that you just used to me is just like your ugly heart. And as from this moment, you are blocked. And I blocked them. Obviously, they're on other people's page.
So they can see
So they can see what I write on other people's page. So what I do, I block them from my page. So they can go on my friend's page, I don't care. But the minute you start using swear languages at me because of my views, I block you immediately. You know, I am not going to ride the low road with you. I'm going to take the high road because I know better. You understand? I'm well informed. I am doing my homework. I am studying this stuff. Listen, from the time this election started, when they said Trump was a joke,
Yes.
I took it as a hobby to follow it to the end.
Yeah.
People were saying, Coach, you need to get yourself out there because you got a lot of good things to say to motivate and inspire people and all this kind of stuff. I said, wait a minute. I'm going to inspire people by passing on the truth to them. I had to listen to what great guys had to say, like Billy Graham.
Yeah.
You know, I listened to a lot of great guys, a lot of great people who I know that I can actually trust based on what they're saying. I listen to them. I compile them all together, and then I search for the truth. And the evidence was just, there were times I was just laughing to myself.
Was that similar to Brexit as well?
Yeah, because, you know, when Brexit was about to explode, I went back to study when Britain got into the European Union in the first place. I wanted to see what happened, what took place when Britain was deciding to join the European Union. It was not a nice scene. It was not a nice scene. There was a lot of doubts. There were a lot of insecurities. You understand me? There were a lot of issues surrounding it.
Yes.
There was a lot of unsurety. But then, when certain politicians realized that this is going to fill their pocket, forget about it. Let's ride this train.
You know that they said that the persons that took us out of Brexit are the same ones that put us into Brexit. The people who are taking us out of Europe were the ones that put us in Europe because what they believed was going to be delivered was not delivered. And that's why they said, sorry. That is why who was it? Someone was saying on a news broadcast recently, it was James O'Brien from LBC was saying, the old folks were the one that caused it. And then he had to qualify himself to say that, I'm not saying it's the old people, but he's right in a certain way.
Yeah, because the whole history about Brexit is very deep. And you have to go back and look at these European unions. Like, I mean, when Nigel Farage went to the European Union, he said, some of you never had a day job in your life. They were massively offended, and he was absolutely right.
Yeah.
He was the right man to actually, and they didn't like that. The left gets very offended. Very offended. Anytime they're constructively criticized. Look at Barack Obama. The minute you say something that he's in disagreement with, he gets easily offended. Now he's lecturing Trump on Russia.
Yeah.
This is the man who just trying to get America's most sensitive secret passes on to Russian military, top military, trying to get the Pentagon and Russia top military guys to come together. And the Pentagon is not in agreement with it. You see what I'm saying? And he is lecturing Trump on Russia. His Secretary of State took the reset button to the Secretary of State, the Foreign Secretary of Russia, and said, look, they're resetting the relationship. He could not even talk to Vladimir Putin when they went into Crimea. He could not even talk to them when they went into Syria. So, you know, his red line, drawing a red line in the sand, he was the weakest president on foreign soil. And now he's going to lecture to Donald Trump, you understand me, as to how he must deal with Russia. Isn't it a joke?
Is it similar to what when Hillary said to Donald Trump, so what are you going to do with ISIS? And Trump said, I never forget what Trump said, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, you know what I mean? This is what's been happening. You guys, we keep telling people everything. What about the element of surprise? But listen, in your opinion, what does this mean then for future presidential, prime minister, parliamentary candidate? It seems people and countries are now losing faith in the status quo of democratic system and they're moving in droves against the popular elected in a post-Trump world. It's like this. We're in this new era.
I think the young people, I have empathy for a lot of the young people.
Yeah.
They're very much misinformed, and I don't think they're studying history well. I think it's 1824 when Andrew Jackson was elected.
Yeah.
He had the same temperament like Donald Trump.
Yes.
He went up against the elite, right? What you see is happening today has happened before.
Yes.
And for maybe every 2, 3, 4, or 5, 6 decades, somebody comes and rock the boat. What Trump did, he rocked the boat. He shake up the establishment. That's why he called it drain the swamp.
Right.
And I think what is happening there, before Trump, we were seeing what was happening in Venezuela. We were seeing what was happening in Brazil. We were seeing what was happening when other countries elected leaders that the people were told, look at Turkey, look at, we were seeing what was happening. The people were revolting against it because the people are actually tired of this main party system that has been dominating for so long.
Yes.
You got the Republicans and you got the Democrats. And Trump made it very clear throughout the election, I am not a politician. Yes, I might be running on a party ticket, but I'm an outsider. I'm not an insider.
But now he's an insider.
Now he's there now. He's saying, look, anybody who's going to work with me cannot be attached to any lobbyists. You know, you need to focus on the American people. You need to focus on serving the American people.
Yeah.
He has surrounded himself with some brilliant people, right? Though people may have their own opinion about it and they're entitled to that. I don't have a problem with people protesting, but damaging and beating up people on the streets and all that kind of stuff, that is not protesting.
Yeah.
That is being an idiot. You're a damn clown
Right.
to be doing stuff like that.
Okay.
And people need to call them out. The President of the United States is not calling them out. Hillary Clinton is not calling them out. But the newspapers, the journalists is not calling them out. You understand me?
So maybe we need the parents to call out young people.
Well, if my son was out there doing something like that, I'll bash his brains in, goddammit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a short break and we'll get back to you, get the conversation going with Coach Lyken. Thank you.
I don't know what happened to Theresa May, but I know a lot of British politicians like the mayor and Mr. Sadiq Khan and Mr. Boris Johnson.
They're toning down their
They
rhetoric.
all have to eat their words now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Pastors were refusing to say anything. You know, people that were afraid that they were going to lose members of their congregation. No, you don't have to be afraid to lose members of your congregation. You need to inform your congregation. You need to educate your congregation as to, and let them make the decision as to who they want to vote for. Look, I'm not a Farrakhan guy, okay? Because Farrakhan has said some things that is crazy that I don't buy into, but that's Farrakhan. But I heard Farrakhan. There's a YouTube video with Farrakhan saying to his followers, how many of you in here are going to vote for Hillary? He said, put your hands up. He said, no, wait a minute. You don't have to put your hands up. He said, she is a wicked woman. So if you're going to vote for her, you better vote with knowledge.
Hi, thanks for watching our video. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and share and like, and don't forget to comment, but first subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I just been on the SYLBOURNE Show, and it was exciting. It was the election special we were talking about. And please do follow them on their YouTube, and more to come. Until then, good night.